Guess who's back? Back again. Welcome back to A Little Bit Unglamorous 2.0. I'm your host, Erica Renee, and it has been a while since I've said that. I almost forgot that was my intro, to be honest. It's been a while, and I'm really excited to be back. I missed doing this podcast so much. I have some new pop culture stuff to talk about. I opened my notes and I actually had notes from the Grammys I wanted to talk about, and then for whatever reason I never talked about it. So we're going to do that a little later too, because why not? It's my podcast and I have some thoughts on the Grammy Awards. But first, a little life update. So this is podcast 2.0. I'm really excited. I even have a nice new camera, and I did a photo shoot earlier today, so hopefully a new logo, which you've probably seen by now. And what else has been going on? I have been traveling like crazy, which is so fun. I'm actually headed back to Hawaii next month in a few weeks, and I'm going to bring the podcast with me. We are going to be still uploading on Wednesdays. It just probably won't be every single Wednesday. It's a lot. I have actually been uploading a lot more to my main YouTube channel. I try to do reels daily, every other day. The goal is daily, but I've been uploading a lot more. So we're going to be doing the podcast on Wednesdays when I feel like it, and the podcast equipment's coming with me to Hawaii. So I'm really excited to be back. I've really missed talking about pop culture quite a bit because my boyfriend and my mom get an earful, and I just think to myself, I really need a platform where I can just unload all of this. If you follow me on Instagram, I have just been posting. I follow a bunch of news media outlets, pop culture ones, of course, the only news that matters, duh, on that account, and I'll just comment on things here and there. It really keeps me in the know with what's going on. And my laptop is about to die, which is very inconvenient, so I'm going to plug that in really quick. I have all my notes. So if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that I comment on things here and there. I kind of spam that account to prevent spamming my main Instagram account. And if you're interested in staying in the know and hearing my thoughts on pop culture news, you can follow me there at A Little Bit Unglamorous. And if you might have noticed, maybe you didn't notice, but I got Invisalign, so that was a big life update that I'm very excited for. I actually really like, you can't see it on my teeth, can you? I'm still getting used to wearing the Invisalign with makeup. You know, I'm a makeup girly. Getting it on, keeping it off of your teeth or off of the aligners now is actually really hard to do, which is so funny because I just ordered, if you don't know, King Kylie is back. It's the 10-year anniversary of King Kylie, Kylie Cosmetics, and if you don't know, it was a huge to-do in 2015 when Kylie Jenner launched her makeup brand, now known as Kylie Cosmetics. I think she launched it under the name Lip Kit by Kylie back in the day, and back then, liquid lips were, I don't even think they were on the scene yet. I want to say Kylie Jenner was one of the first who did the liquid lip and the liner in a kit. So she marketed it as Lip Kits by Kylie. She had 3 shades, I believe. It was Dolce K, True Brown K, and another one. I think it was 3 kits that she launched. I have some of the original ones sitting in my drawer, probably rotting away, that I will never get rid of just because of the nostalgia of it all. And apparently Kylie loves the nostalgia of it all as well, because she brought back King Kylie lip kits for the 10-year anniversary. That just dropped today as I'm filming. It's a Saturday, and I couldn't help but get caught up in all the nostalgia that I had to get some of her original lip kits. Her first formula, if you ever bought one of her original lip kits, wasn't the best formula. I'm sorry, Kylie. The Kardashians do amazing things. Kylie does a lot of things well. Their perfumes, amazing. I will blind buy a Kardashian perfume without smelling it any day of the week. Her original formula for the lip kits was so bad. It was like cement on your lips, crusting off. But it's just like, I can't get rid of any of them. I keep buying them. It's the nostalgia of it all. It's the mayhem of it all. And so I know they did reformulate. She wanted to make her formula all vegan, and I think she did that. And I don't know if it's changed since then, but I bought 3 matte lip kits. I could not help myself. I even got the Dead of Night shade, which was, back in the day, a really big to-do because Kylie Jenner wore her black liquid lip. And I'm going to be honest, I'm really worried. I'm really worried about that one. I'm not sure how the longevity is going to be on it, but it's Halloween time right now, and I figured, you know what? Why not? It'll be a great video, and for the nostalgia of it all, I had to pick it up. And apparently people were really excited for this launch too, because I saw it selling out. She did a countdown and everything, very a la Taylor Swift, her and her countdowns, and we're going to get into that too. The life of a showgirl. I think my last podcast video up was my reaction for the Tortured Poets department. So you know that I will take any opportunity there is to talk about Taylor Swift. She just released a new album, The Life of a Showgirl, and it has received very mixed reviews from people online. The Swifties seem to love it, at least the majority of Swifties that I see, but it has sparked some debate. Let's get into it. You know I love talking about Taylor, and I'm just going to say I love this album. I love the pandemonium and hype behind all of her album releases. My mom and I went to the movie premiere. We made bracelets for the movie premiere. I literally have the cardigan right next to me, which, by the way, is so much cuter in person than I thought it would be. It's like the perfect pumpkin spice, as my boyfriend described it, the perfect pumpkin spice orange. But I'm really glad that I picked that up. I got sucked into 2 vinyls. I got the Target exclusive vinyl, which is a really gorgeous pink color, and then of course the original that was on her website, which is honestly this really, really gorgeous glittery orange. So glittery orange is like the color of this era, which is actually really fun and perfect for, well, it's gonna be fall now. It is fall now. I don't know why I'm still in summer mode. Oh, by the way, my nails I just did in honor of King Kylie for the little photo shoot that I just did for the podcast. So you should be seeing those. And where was I? Back to Life of a Showgirl. I really like the album. She produced it with Max Martin and Shellback, which also produced 1989. And that album is like, I think that was her step into the pop world from country. As we all know, the Tortured Poets department, as we all know, the Tortured Poets department was very melodical, melancholy. That was kind of the vibe and era that she was in. She just kind of trauma dumped into her writing and just had all of these complex lyrics and melodies and just gave us every single thought in her brain and threw it on the album and then made it a double album, and it was really exciting. This is a stark contrast from that, right? She has, it's 12, I believe, 12 tracks, and when she announced it on Travis Kelce's podcast, New Heights, she was very upfront by saying there's only 12 tracks, there won't be any more tracks, which I think is funny because the Swiftie fandom has really become used to her giving us more and more. So we ask for more, as if 12 wasn't enough, which I think is really funny because in her last song, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, she literally says the crowd was screaming more. Nobody knew I had a broken heart. But anyway, so this album she wrote completely on the Eras Tour, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me. She was flying back and forth from Sweden because that's where Max Martin lives. He's a Swedish producer. He actually also produced Baby One More Time for Britney Spears and tons of hits that you probably aren't even aware of. I think he was a young kid back in the day when he did Baby One More Time, because I think he's a younger guy, probably around Taylor Swift's age. And as we know now, Sabrina Carpenter was featured on the main track, The Life of a Showgirl, which I love. Sabrina Carpenter, she is really on her A game right now. I think she just hosted Saturday Night Live. She was the host and the guest performer, which I don't know if they normally do that or not. And I was also just thinking about her Christmas special that she did with Netflix last year. Just so clever and witty and funny, and I really like her. I think she uses her sex appeal. She knows what she's doing, and she gets a lot of chatter and talk. She just dropped a new album too, Man's Best Friend, which somebody described as a slow burn, and I completely agree with that, because the first listen I was like, I don't know if I'm into it. Second listen, it's kind of one of those albums that I would listen to, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I would listen to it while working. That's why I love Folklore, Evermore. Those are like my deep thought albums that I listen to when I really need to focus. And Sabrina Carpenter's album, I just think the first listen, you don't get how witty and creative she is, and I really grew to like it a lot, and I think she knew what she was doing with that album cover. She has since released, I believe, a few alternate album covers, but she's really on her A game right now. She's headlining Coachella again for the second year in a row. I watched the set on TV last year, and actually really enjoy watching the Coachella sets on TV, because they always have the cameras as if you are there on the TV. And I don't know, it's funny because I am literally from that area, and I've still never been to a Coachella. I feel like I have to, just because in proximity to me, it's kind of silly not to, but they've made it into such a huge thing. It's like 3-4 days long. You know, I wouldn't be sleeping in a tent or anything, but it's just like, it's like $500. Is that being generous, or is that the actual price? Like, that just seems like so outrageous for a full day in the sun. And anyway, so she's gonna be headlining Coachella again this year. I think Justin Bieber is too. He just dropped Swag and Swag 2, which are two other albums that have received some mixed reviews. I loved them. I would also put it in that category of I don't want to say easy listening, but I really enjoyed those albums a lot. I would also listen to them for a deep focus, and so he's going to be performing. Anyway, I've gotten on a long rampage on that, but anyway, so we're going to rein it back into The Life of a Showgirl, but can we just say the merch, oh my gosh, the merch. Besides the cardigan, I kind of do like the cardigan, what do you call it? The motif of the cardigans. It's, you know, every era has its own cardigan. At first I was kind of like, okay, it's a very much folklore thing. I think that was the first one. Why do we need cardigans for every era? Now I'm into it. I have a collection now. It's like I kind of have to get them now because I'm collecting them. And I feel the same way with the vinyls. At first I was like, okay, how many alternate covers do you need? Like, you know, the consumerism of it all, the countdown of it all, the making people very excited, and the scarcity mindset of it, I absolutely hate. But I do like the vinyls. I keep looking over because I just put, I think I decided on 2 vinyl shelves, and it looks so nice. I have my 2 Life of a Showgirl albums up, and, you know, I get it now. I get it. Maybe just because I'm such a big Swiftie. You know, I love having the little mementos, and it is fun to have the rare merch. I have like the Lover Snow Globe, and it's fun, but at what point is it too much, you know? It does feel a little crazy when you're dropping, you know, like 20 alternate covers, and then the signed ones, you have to buy the same thing that you just bought, and, you know, how far is too far? But with that all being said, I think I'm a vinyl collector now. I have my little vinyl corner, and it is fun, right? Okay, so moving on, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged. Crazy. She announced her album on the New Heights podcast. Watched the whole thing, loved it, loved me some Taylor. Apparently he proposed right after the podcast, and she's done an interview, just tons of interviews to promote this album, which the last album I don't believe got any interviews or anything like that, 'cause she was on the Eras tour. So this is really the first time that we've seen her doing a press tour in a really long time. And I just love hearing her talk about, you know, where she is in her life and how happy she is, and talking about Travis. I don't think we've ever heard her talk about a significant other in that way, that was so excited to cheer for her and be there for her. And so she announces this album, and I still have a little bit of a lisp sometimes with the Invisalign. I think it's only when my mouth gets dry or I get thirsty, or if I change the aligners, but hopefully you don't hear it. So apparently while they were filming the podcast, he had all the curtains drawn and everything, and it was to distract her because he was having a bunch of people set up his backyard with like the flowers and stuff, and I just thought that was really cute. They announced it to everybody that they were engaged probably like 2 weeks after it happened, which I am so excited for, along with the rest of the fandom. I think it's so cute seeing her at all of the football games, and it's just so funny because speaking of the signed album, so she does signed CDs, and I think some of the Swifties were getting CDs signed by both Taylor and Travis, and I thought it was just so cute and funny how the Swiftie fandom loves Travis Kelce, but it is not the other way around. The football fans hate that Taylor is there, and I just feel so bad for her. But I love seeing her do all of her little press walks and all of her outfits. I love the outfits, most of them. Although lately I know she hasn't been doing them anymore because of all of the shootings and the Charlie Kirk thing that just happened. She literally walked behind a bulletproof walkway to go into her suite, and she hasn't been doing that anymore. So I think also she has a stalker. I mean, she's had many stalkers, but I was reading that she had a stalker that randomly went missing around that same time. So I think it made her really scared. I think she even hired a private investigator to stalk her stalker, and they couldn't find him, which is so scary. I know in interviews in the past she said that she has carried wound dressings and things like that, and it's just like, it's really crazy to hear celebrities say that. Like, when you're a celebrity, having a stalker is so common. It's just so crazy. Who was it? Miranda Cosgrove. She had her stalker kill himself in her front yard or something like that. He drove by thinking somebody was her and shot at that person, and it wasn't her. She wasn't there. And then killed himself. Like, it's just crazy. But anyway, I'm kind of losing the plot right now, and I'm going to reel it back in. Okay, so we talked about King Kylie. Very excited for that. Another thing I am really hot and bothered about right now, and I'm going to talk about it, is Kevin Federline. And this is new news. It is just come out the last few days. Kevin Federline coming out with his memoir, his book. You think it would be about his life and his accomplishments. He was a backup dancer, and I don't know what he does now. He was a failed DJ, and he basically lives on Britney's payroll. Is it about any of that? Maybe the last part. It's all about Britney. And mind you, they were married for 3 years, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Their kids are all grown. And it was a whirlwind Brittany, like, I feel like she's such a sweet soul and was truly in love with this person. And I remember they got married in Vegas, and I actually love the photo of her and all of her bridesmaids, her mom and her sister, and they were all in matching Juicy Couture tracksuits, and that's honestly my dream. So if I if I ever do a big shenanigans like that, it's going to be the matching Juicy tracksuits, and that's kind of like my standard. So they get married in Vegas. They do the damn thing. They had 2 kids together who are now adults now. I think they're in their 20s. Who remembers the iconic paparazzi photo of Britney Spears? She was shopping the day after her divorce in her wedding dress. I think she might have had a few, but it was like a short little cute white dress. Iconic. Hilarious. So funny. Kevin Federline, I believe, lives in Hawaii now. He actually lives in Oahu, which I think is so random and funny with their 2 boys and I think his girlfriend, which is another point to make. You think he's ever going to marry his girlfriend? No, because that means his bankroll from Britney stops. And another hot topic of why he moved to Hawaii, apparently their child support laws are longer there. So, I don't know. But anyway, all of that isn't enough. I think the paychecks finally stopped because his kids are 21 now, I believe, or at least one of them. So he decides to write this memoir, and it's all about his time married to Britney, and it's basically a smear campaign against Britney. Mind you, this was 20 years ago. They were married for 3 years. No one knew who Kevin Federline was. He was her backup dancer. And he not only is talking all about Britney in this book, that's all it's about, he is running such a smear campaign on her, saying the most outlandish things, like she drank and did drugs while she was breastfeeding, and just unnecessary stuff, right? Embarrassing. This man cannot keep her name out of his mouth, and it's been 20 years. He is obsessed. He wants that paycheck, right? But also, can you imagine your parents, and I am not a child of divorce, thank goodness, but I'm sure people who are can maybe relate to one parent saying bad things about the other parent. Not everybody is in a dynamic where they're in a good co-parenting situation. But can you imagine one of your parents doing an interview that they're paid for and just dragging the other parent and saying, like, yeah, they never wanted to have you. They didn't want to keep you. Like, why? Like, why would you, like, how embarrassing for the kids. Why would you put that dirty laundry out there? It's not cute. It's disgusting. It's definitely for a payday. And it does seem like the internet agrees. They're disgusted by you, KFED. And honestly, Britney, she's just, doing her own thing. But she did come out with a statement on her Instagram, and she said she's tired of, these men trying to profit off of her. And, good for her. She stood up for herself. And Jason Alexander, who was like her high school boyfriend she was married to for like 24 hours before KFED, before her team made her annul it, he came out in defense of Britney too. So good for him. We like him. He is on our good side. But KFED, you were always a loser, and now that's solidified. Moving on to more exciting stuff. Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco finally got married. They had their album together, I Said I Love You First, which I really liked. Another famous child pop star who was also married to a music producer, Hilary Duff, is going to be making an album. Matthew Coma doing the Lord's work and convincing her to make an album. Thank you so much. I loved Breathe In, Breathe Out, and I loved her in the music realm. I think she was fun pop, and she always said that she never really felt comfortable in the music industry. I think Selena Gomez said that too, but I think their albums are, well, Hillary's is still in the works, but Selena's I thought was really good and really fun. And her husband, Benny Blanco, he has produced a lot of the major 2010 songs. He did TikTok by Kesha and just tons of 2000 songs that you might not even realize. So he is very established in his own right as well. Speaking of men, husbands doing the Lord's work, the Beckhams. So I just recently watched Victoria Beckham's new documentary on Netflix, and she was a Spice Girl, and they did a reunion tour, and I think it was in 2012. To this day, I'm sad that I missed it, and she talks about how David Beckham mom guilted her into doing the reunion at that time because he said it would be great for their kids to see her in that Spice Girls realm, because by the time they had kids, or their first kid, the Spice Girl pandemonium had ended, and now they have another kid. Well, I think she's 19, but that other kid has also not seen her in the Spice Girl realm, so I'm gonna need you, David Beckham, to convince her to do one more world tour. I think she has said that it is enticing for her. She's kind of hinted that it might be something they're willing to do. I don't know if it's in the works, but I don't care how much it is. I will be there. I don't think you understand how big the Spice Girls were. I had their movie, the Spice movie, and that movie deserved an award. It was just so funny and hilarious, and I feel like I need to dig it out and watch it again because I loved that movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but now suddenly I feel like I need to. Speaking of movies, the Twilight saga is apparently going to be re-released in theaters in November. And if you may or may not know, I never saw the Twilight. I never read the books. I never got on the Twilight train when it first came out in 2007 era. And my mom and I recently binge watched all of the Twilight movies. They were free on, I think we have a Samsung TV, so it was like Samsung Plus. I think now they're available on free for streaming. So we watched all of them in a week span, and let me tell you, that was a treat. I shared my first thoughts with all of my followers on Instagram, and all of my friends thought it was hilarious because, and I get it now that I have seen Twilight, you will never get to experience how hilarious it is watching somebody watch Twilight for the first time, because it's so cheesy and ridiculous. The acting's kind of bad, but it's just like that comfort movie that you have to keep watching, and I was in it, okay? So I feel like because I missed the pandemonium the first time, I have to go see it in theater, right? I just think it would be so fun and hilarious, and oh my gosh, Kristen Stewart and her two boyfriends. And speaking of movies that are coming out soon, Wicked for Good, Wicked Part 2. I just saw Part 1 recently. It's free on Prime right now. And growing up, I actually never saw Wicked, the Broadway show, but the songs were everywhere. I was in show choir in high school. Everybody loved For Good. I was obsessed with singing it. I loved singing Popular, but I had never seen the Broadway show, so I didn't really understand fully the plot or what happens, and so I'm really excited to see Part 2. I know a little bit. I've seen some spoilers. I love Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. In the first one, they're just both perfect for the roles. Ariana Grande kills it. By the way, I think she is still with Ethan Slater. I think previously I said they broke up, and I honestly thought they did, but I think they're still together, which is surprising to me. Moving on to, there's been a lot of albums lately. Cardi B just dropped her sophomore album. It's been, I think how long has she been on the scene now? Quite a few years. Has it been 10? That sounds like too many, but anyway, it's only her second album, and she's a millionaire just off of her one album, and whatever else she does. But so she dropped her sophomore album called Am I the Drama? It's amazing. I loved it. I'm not a huge rap fan typically, but I did like Eminem's new album. I do love me some Cardi B. She's hilarious, right? She is unfiltered. She just says what's on her mind. She's a little controversial. Her and Nicki Minaj fighting crack me up. They were on a Twitter feud a few weeks ago and just going off on one another. And at one point they even wrote to each other's children, like instead of saying Cardi blah 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 blah, they addressed like each other's children, saying, I'm so sorry that your mom is with a pedophile and blah blah blah, and like crazy outlandish stuff. And I live for the drama. It is hilarious, but her album slaps. It is honestly so good. I think it's like 2 times platinum, and she's selling crazy impressive numbers for somebody that has only had 2 albums thus far. During that rollout, and her life right now is also so crazy and chaotic. She's going through a divorce with Offset. She's pregnant with Stefan Diggs. And she was also in a battery lawsuit or assault lawsuit. So I think the story was, and I think she was actually going to a doctor's appointment for her baby. She hasn't had the baby yet. She's still pregnant. And she was walking into her doctor's office, and the security guard that worked at the building was like trying to take video of her because they were excited. It's Cardi B, but hello, HIPAA. You can't just be like videoing somebody in a doctor's office. So Cardi got pissed, of course, and being Cardi, got up in her face and, said what you probably think Cardi B would say. And this woman alleges that she scratched her on the face with her claws. And this happened, I think, while she was pregnant a few years ago. Because I think this all is from like 2018 or something like that. So she's pregnant with one of her other children. Anyway, this lady decided to sue her and wanted something outrageous, like outlandish, like millions of dollars for this assault case. And Cardi is on the stand, and oh my gosh, it was such a media spectacle. It was hilarious. The woman's lawyer was a complete joke. He was, at one point, he asked Cardi, because she has a different hairstyle every day. She wears wigs. He says, now, is that your real hair? Like, you had a short bob yesterday, and today it's long and orange. And she just starts laughing. She's like, it's a wig. And it's like, how is that even relevant to anything at all? But it was freaking hilarious. Cardi's facial expressions went viral. And she even dropped limited album release covers of her face in the courtroom, which was so freaking funny. She took to the streets to sell her album. Like, there's photos of her on the streets of New York with her albums for sale. And I think she's doing meet and greets in select cities. And the whole thing, I mean, she's a busy girl. She's on tour right now, I think, and she's pregnant. Like, she is working. Like, that rent needs to be paid. She's working right now. So she is still in the middle of her divorce with Offset. I think he refuses to sign the papers because he wants a house from her. He wants her to pay his taxes. And I think she said something like, I didn't marry the IRS. So she's like, I'm going to move on with my life. So she starts dating Stefan Diggs, who is a basketball player, and announced that they're expecting a baby together. She's still married to Offset. And then, unfortunately, it came out that Stefan Diggs, some woman has claimed that he is the father of her child that she just had 6 months ago. I think he has something like 3 baby mamas, so he's a dud. And my heart, like, I really feel bad for Cardi, because that is so shitty. She finds all this out while they're dating, while she's heavily pregnant, and she's stuck with this guy now. So she's got an ex-husband who is still her husband, demanding tons of money from her, a deadbeat baby daddy who has at least 3 other baby mamas, and the drama of it all is just, it's just crazy. But on the up and up, her album slaps. But yeah, so she was getting into it with Nicki Minaj, back and forth. They've had a very public rift from day one. I'm really not sure who started it. I feel like Nicki is a hater, but Cardi will definitely clap back. I think at one point Cardi took off her shoe on the red carpet and threw it at Nicki, which is so freaking crazy. So they were going at it on Twitter, and at one point Nicki Minaj said, "I'm not releasing my new album anymore. I hope you guys are happy," which is so dramatic. But that whole debacle is crazy. Oh my gosh, some sad news. Eric Dane, he is Dr. McSteamy in Grey's Anatomy. I think he has not been in Grey's for quite some time now. What are they on? Season 20? Something crazy. I saw the season preview for the next season, and they kill one of the main characters, which shouldn't be a surprise because they kill somebody every single episode, which is why I had to stop watching, because it's just crying every episode. It's just so sad. But I won't spoil it just in case anybody still watches it, but I know who it is because I follow his wife on Instagram, and I thought that was kind of funny that she spoiled it for me, even though I wasn't gonna watch it anyway. Eric Dane has come out saying he has ALS. I think it's slowly, all your muscles slowly dystrophy until you have no control of your body at all, and it's just like so sad, very horrific, a very horrific disease to have. And so I saw a clip of him earlier today, actually, and it makes me so annoyed when clearly someone is going through something and people throw a camera in their face. So stupid. But he is looking so... He was in a wheelchair at the airport. I've seen recent clips of him, and, the ALS obviously affects your vocal cords as well, and just to see him deteriorate so quickly is just so sad and so depressing. But when I saw that video of somebody putting a camera in his face, like, it just made me really upset, really angry. Clearly he's going through it. People have the audacity. But okay, we're going to segue into some old news, and we're just going to talk about it because we can, and it's going to be about the Grammys because I watched them and I took notes and I never spilled the tea with you guys. So we're going to just touch on the Grammys a bit, and I think every year when I want to watch something like the Grammys and it's behind a paywall, I'll do a free membership or whatever service that it's on. I'll just use another email address. And that's what I did with Paramount Plus so I could watch the Grammys. So it was hosted by Trevor Noah, and famously Joe Coy was fired, I think. I don't know if he was fired, but his jokes didn't land. But anyway, everybody loves Trevor Noah. And I watched the red carpet and all that stuff. Honestly, these award shows have gotten so boring. I think I got bored halfway through, so I only have notes for like half of the Grammys. I don't think anyone even bothered to show up this year. Most of the performances were pre-taped. Yeah, these award shows are going downhill. But a few things I have noted. So Sabrina Carpenter performed. Love her. I think her Short and Sweet won Album of the Year over Taylor Swift and over Billie Eilish. And at one point I saw the camera pan to Billie Eilish and she looked like she was in tears. I think she was nominated for 7 awards or something that night, and she walked away with nothing. Taylor Swift also walked away with nothing, which is crazy because she has just been sweeping awards at every single ceremony. So I was actually personally very shocked to see that. Taylor Swift presented an award. I cannot remember the last time she did that. Every time I think of her at an event, I think of the Kanye incident, of course. But so she presented, I believe it was Best Country Album, which is kind of fitting because she used to be country. And that went to Beyonce's Cowboy Carter, which is really funny because she ended up winning 0 awards at the CMAs. And I know the whole Beyonce country album is a big hot topic. It's a hot topic in the country community. The fans are very divided. Personally, I did not love the album. I don't know. At first I was thinking maybe it's one of those things where, you know, when somebody does something so new, you kind of have to let it sit and you have to listen to it a few times and then you see later, oh, this was genius. I didn't really get to that point. So I didn't love it. But I don't know. I do think it's weird how almost everybody in the music community is afraid of Beyonce, it almost seems. But anyway, she had Blue Ivy and Jay-Z with her. Blue Ivy is only 13. She looks so freaking grown up. She's gorgeous. Beyonce took her on tour, and she's like one of her backup dancers, and she does an amazing job. I'm here for that nepotism, honestly. Like, she is so adorable, and she knows that all eyes are on her, and she just feels so put together and so poised. But yeah, my queen Taylor was snubbed from every category. I thought that was very surprising as well. Benson Boone performed. I remember seeing Benson Boone right before he hit it big, and I think he was on TikTok promoting his song, and he was doing the backflips, and the second I saw him, I was like, he's going to be really big. I think he was on American Idol, and they had him auditioning for American Idol, and I think they invited him to the next round, and he ended up walking away because he wanted to do something else. I think American Idol makes you sign your life away, and he didn't want to do that. But by the time he released his first album, he was already so huge. He was doing all of the media. He was doing all the award shows. He does backflips at every single award show. It honestly makes me really nervous, but he nails it every single time. His voice is stellar. I laughed really hard. He has I think he has a second album already. He's really riding the wave, which good for him, called American Hearts. And one of his music videos, I laughed because he was making fun of himself in it. Like at one point he's jumping into a pool and there's a sign that says no backflips. The beginning of the video opens and it's a little girl being like, hey, are you that guy that sings that song? And he's like, yeah, that's me. And she goes, I hate that song. And anyway, I just thought it was really funny that he could poke fun at himself. He kind of gives me Harry Styles vibes with his very like flamboyant outfits. He was wearing like a baby blue jumpsuit, and the beginning of his set, he was sitting in the audience, and Heidi Klum and Nikki Glacier like ripped his outfit to reveal his other outfit underneath, which I thought was really cute and funny. For some reason, all of my batteries are dying right now. Give me a minute. Anyway, another artist whose career went from 0 to 100 is Chappell Roan. She also performed, I believe. I think that's what my notes said earlier. Yeah, she sang Pink Pony Club, and she won Best New Artist, which I believe is very justified. She was huge. Her songs are really good. I think she has come out and said her second album won't be for a really long time. She said I think it took her 4 years to write the first one. It might take 4 years to write the second one. She came out with a music video and song called The Subway recently. I really liked it. Very catchy. So she was wearing this like big dunce hat, and the whole time I was thinking I would hate to be sitting right behind her. I have a pet peeve. People that go to even concerts, okay? I feel like you shouldn't be wearing a big cowboy hat with like feathers all over it and when I was at the Taylor Swift concert with my mom, there were two people in front of us, and there were vendors selling these hats, but they were wearing the cowboy hats, and we're not the tallest of people, so it was like kind of obstructing our view most of the time. So I just feel like, I don't know, it just is rude. But anyway, she was wearing a very large dunce hat, and I just thought that was funny, and I kept thinking to myself, I would hate to be sitting behind her. And she took the opportunity to talk about how labels treat their artists, and about, I think, healthcare and labels, how they should give their artists healthcare. She has been a hot topic on up for debate about how she treats her fans. She will not give a photograph to a fan. She will not give a autograph to a fan if she's like out doing her own thing. And I understand where she's coming from. Like, how far is too far? Like, she's not a zoo animal. Just because she's famous doesn't give people a right to follow you, to video you, to treat you like a zoo animal. And it's like, unfortunately, that comes with the business that she's in, and the situation she wanted to be so badly, right? This is your dream. And of course, unfortunately, it comes with negatives, but it's like, I get that, but I feel like the way that she handles it comes off so ungrateful. And not to bring up Taylor Swift again, but I love talking about Taylor Swift. In stark contrast, I think a long time ago, Taylor Swift was asked, do you ever get tired of, the fandom, like people coming up to you? And, I think she was saying, so an interviewer asked her, what's the craziest thing that, has happened when you've met a fan? And she said, sometimes they'll accidentally like scratch me if I'm going in for a hug or something. And I think it was Gayle King. And she said, do you ever get tired of it? And Taylor said, no. I will never complain, because this one thing that I wanted so badly, I dreamed of, I woke up every single day praying for this. I will never be that person that complains about it. And I just think that's like so humble. And, I love Taylor Swift. Ruby Rose was defending her recently, saying she used to scroll through GoFundMe's, like it was a social media app, and just like donate to people who needed it. I think recently she donated $100,000 to this child who was just diagnosed with cancer, and she's just an all-around good person. We love her. Also, just jumping off of that, so Charli XCX, people have been talking about her recently because after Taylor's new album release, she has a song called Actually Romantic. And it gives very specific details that leads you to believe she's talking about Charli XCX, who earlier, her album Brat was like the album of the summer. People loved it. She had a song called Sympathy is a Knife, and there were some lyrics in there that kind of people thought she was talking about Taylor Swift. I think it said something like, I hate seeing your face at the back of my boyfriend's show. I'm glad he ghosted you, or whatever. Like, I hope you break up soon, or something like that. And I think she's dating somebody in the 1975, or was at that time. And Taylor Swift was dating Maddie Healy at that time. So people kind of put two and two together. And I thought that was really weird, because Charli XCX opened for Taylor Swift on her tour, on her 1989 tour, I believe. So it's a little bite the hand that feeds you to me. I just thought that was very strange. But Taylor Swift kind of claps back in her new album. She has a song called Actually Romantic, and the theme of the song is, all these people could be talking about you, and you could either get offended about it, but I actually think that I'm honored that you think about me so much and you talk about me so much. And, I think she's come out and said, what other people say about me is none of my business. My name can be in the headline and it could be none of my business, which honestly, like, That's such a good way to live, you know, like what other people say about you. None of your business. Who cares? Like, if they want to run their mouth and spread all of these rumors and lies, you know what? I just feel like there's something to be said about somebody that's always talking, and eventually people catch on to the fact that what they're saying is bullshit. But the lyrics of her song are very targeted, and I think the song opens up and says, I heard you call me boring Barbie when the Coke's got you brave, which is like, okay, Taylor really went for it in this album. Like, she has, you know, the most swear words in this album, and, you know, she really went playful with the melodies and the beats, and yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. This drama or whatever, it just seems like it came out of nowhere. The internet seems to think it's like one-sided because, I don't know, Taylor invited her to open her tour, and now she's very, very publicly talking smack about her, which feels really weird for me. But another topic, and this will be my last topic for this episode, the It All Ends With Us drama. Okay, we've been following this for a while. The Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, It All Ends With Us. I think the sequel is coming out. Severity is coming out, I believe, in 2026, so a year from now. It says October 2nd, 2026. That is going to be starring Dakota Johnson, who I love, you know, 50 Shades of Grey, and also Anne Hathaway, and Josh Hartnett. Oh my god, I heard he was in the hospital recently. I don't know what it was for, but Josh Hartnett was the heartthrob of the 2000s. We love him. I'm really excited for that. I've never read any of the books, so I'm not really sure. It sounds like it's a different story completely. I'm not sure. Anyway, so Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni have been in this lawsuit. Blake Lively has said that he's running a smear campaign against her, and that she claims she was, you know, sexually harassed by him on set. And, you know, it's been a bunch of he said, she said. And honestly, I don't know who to believe here. I mean, people seem to really not be liking Blake Lively, not believing her. But how much of it is media? You know what I mean? And people also speculate. I think at one point, not to talk about my girl Taylor Swift again, but they are friends. And Blake and Taylor brought up Blake Lively to her suite at the Super Bowl. And this was before all this, I believe, or just right as it was going down. And Justin Baldoni's lawyer subpoenaed Taylor Swift, her text messages about the case, and Taylor ended up just giving them. I think they tried to subpoena her to the witness stand. I don't see that happening. She was on tour at that point, and her lawyers were like, look, she does not have time for this shit. She is on tour. She had nothing to do with any of this. Blake, I think, consulted her on a few things because they're friends. But anyway, at the time I felt bad for Justin Baldoni because can you imagine? He bought the rights to these movies or this movie. He's a producer, and his movie was essentially hijacked by Blake Lively. But anyway, I really liked the movie. That being said, I think all of this drama is still going on. Even Perez Hilton got looped into it. He got called to the witness stand or something like that. I don't know. Like he fired some shots at Blake Lively, and she said, and is not happy with him. But I think this lawsuit is still going on. I don't know if it was dropped or not. I should probably look it up. Let's see. Yeah, so the trial is still ongoing, and it says it's scheduled for March 2026. So they are going to trial. I think all of this stuff's been preliminary. It will be very interesting, so there'll definitely be an update on that. And that is going to be it for this comeback episode of A Little Bit Unglamorous. Thank you so much for joining me if you're still here. And there's going to be more pop culture hot topics. I have lots to talk about, lots to say about all of the pop culture news. If you want more pop culture, please follow me on Instagram at A Little Bit Unglamorous. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.